Welcome back to Waynesider, where we dive deep into the soul of professional wrestling, uncovering the raw emotions that fuel this world. Tonight, we're peeling back layers of heartbreak so heavy it's left even the toughest in tears. The locker room is reeling, and at the center of it all is a man whose strength has defined an era, now grappling with a loss that cuts deeper than any title defeat. From the moment he stepped into the WWE, he carried the weight of destiny, a legacy etched in blood and ambition. His presence commanded arenas, power radiating from every spear, every defiant roar. It was a power born from years of grinding through the indies, clawing his way to the main event, each victory a brick in the empire he built. Yet, with that power came a pressure few could fathom. The expectation to be the face, the tribal chief, the one who holds the family's banner high. It's a mantle that demands perfection. Night after night, he delivered, but the strain of carrying a dynasty gnawed at him, a silent burden hidden behind his stoic gaze. Please like, share and subscribe for more WWE content. In the shadows of his reign, silent resentment simmered among those closest. Allies who shared his blood, who stood by him in the ring, began to feel the sting of his spotlight. Whispers in the locker room spoke of sacrifices made, of opportunities overshadowed by his towering presence, planting seeds of discord where loyalty once stood firm. The emotional history of this saga stretches back to a family forged in the fires of wrestling's golden eras. Their name is synonymous with greatness, each member carrying the torch of a legacy that spans generations. But legacies are heavy, and the pressure to uphold them can fracture even the strongest bonds, turning pride into a quiet ache. Backstage, away from the roaring crowds, those fractures deepened. Late-night talks turned tense, loaded silences replacing the camaraderie of old. The power he wielded, once a unifying force, began to feel like a wedge, driving subtle rifts between kin who shared the same dream but not the same spotlight. His rise was meteoric, a force of nature that reshaped the WWE landscape. Every title defense, every main event, added to his legend, but also to the pressure. Fans adored him, but they demanded invincibility, and the family expected him to carry their name to new heights, no matter the personal cost. Silent resentment grew in the hearts of those who felt sidelined, their own aspirations dimmed by his brilliance. It wasn't hatred, but a quieter pain, love tangled with envy, admiration laced with longing. They stood by him, but each cheer for his name stung a little more, each victory a reminder of their own deferred dreams. The emotional history weaves a complex tapestry, one of power that elevates and isolates, pressure that forges and fractures. He stood as the pillar, but even pillars crack under relentless strain. The family's legacy, once a shared pride, became a battleground of unspoken tensions, each member wrestling with their place in its shadow. In the locker room's dim corners, those tensions played out in glances and half-spoken truths. Veterans who'd seen it all nodded knowingly, while younger stars watched, learning the cost of greatness. The power he held was undeniable, but it came at a price, one paid in strained smiles and guarded conversations. As the pressure mounted, so did the silent resentments, coiling tighter with every sold-out show. He pushed forward, the embodiment of resilience, but the emotional undercurrents swirled darker. The family's bond, once ironclad, began to fray, threads of loyalty stretched thin by ambition and pride. The stage was set for tragedy, the emotional history a prelude to a moment that would shake the WWE to its core. Power had built him into a titan, but pressure had worn him down, and silent resentment had armed those closest with motives they barely acknowledged to themselves. Then, in a moment that stopped hearts, the attack came, a brutal ambush that shattered the illusion of unity. Halfway through this saga, the betrayal erupted, not from a rival faction, but from within the family's own ranks. A calculated strike, born of years of pent-up resentment, left him crumpled, the ring stained with more than just sweat. The arena fell silent, fans clutching their signs in disbelief as the cameras caught the raw anguish on his face. Power, once his shield, offered no protection against this treachery. The pressure he'd endured for years seemed to crystallize in that moment, a devastating climax that left tears streaming down his face. Backstage, the locker room erupted in chaos, wrestlers rushing to make sense of the carnage. Real whispers spread like wildfire, shock, grief, and disbelief mingling in hurried conversations. Some spoke of warning signs ignored, of tensions that had bubbled too long, now exploded in the cruelest way. The emotional aftermath was a storm of its own, tearing through the roster with unrelenting force. He sat in silence, tears betraying the stoic facade, while those around him grappled with their own guilt and sorrow. The family's legacy, once a beacon of pride, now felt like a house divided, its foundations shaken by betrayal. Insiders murmured of fractured relationships, of moments where reconciliation could have changed the course but didn't. The attack wasn't just physical, it was a severance of trust, a wound that bled through the family's storied history. The pressure to move forward clashed with the need to process, leaving everyone in limbo. For the WWE, this loss reverberates beyond one night, reshaping the family's legacy in ways no one foresaw. The power he held, the throne he sat upon, now feels precarious, tainted by the blood spilled in betrayal. The family's name, once untouchable, carries a new weight, a scar that tells of broken bonds. In the days that followed, the locker room remained a somber place, tears shed in private moments as wrestlers reflected on their own loyalties. Real backstage whispers painted a picture of regret, of chances missed to bridge the gaps before they became chasms. The emotional toll lingered, heavy as the silence after a bell. The family's WWE legacy, built on decades of triumphs, now faces an uncertain future. The attack has rewritten the narrative, turning brothers into adversaries, pride into pain. Power, once a unifying force, now feels like a curse, and the pressure to rebuild is a daunting task for those left standing. Fans, too, are reeling, their heroes tears a mirror to their own. Social media buzzes with heartbreak, posts capturing the raw emotion of a moment that transcended scripted drama. The betrayal feels personal, a reminder of how fragile trust can be, even in a world built on larger-than-life spectacles. As the dust settles, the emotional aftermath reveals a truth: betrayal cuts deepest when it comes from those you call family. The silent resentments that simmered for years have left a permanent mark, a reminder that power and pressure can twist even the strongest ties into something unrecognizable. In this heartfelt reflection, we see that broken trust is the true casualty, a wound that lingers long after the physical bruises fade. Blood, spilled in the ring and in spirit, tells a story of loyalty tested and found wanting. The family's legacy endures, but it's forever changed, etched with the pain of this night. We close this chapter with a heavy heart, knowing that wrestling's greatest stories are often its most human. The tears he couldn't hold back are a testament to the cost of greatness, the fragility of bonds in a world driven by ambition. Thank you for joining us on Wainsider, where we honor the blood, sweat, and tears that make this world unforgettable. Until next time, hold tight to those you trust, for in the ring of life, betrayal can come from the shadows you least expect.